Welcome back, everyone. So for today's deck build, I decided to go with a fan favorite, Bubble Girl. Bubble Girl is currently available for redemption on the UGN site, play.uvs games. If you are not on the UVS games, the play.uvs games site, you can, I'll try to remember to link it down in the description, but it is good for finding local stores to play at, and you can, when you do play at these local stores, you can earn points, and you can redeem those points for cards. You can also turn in your packs. If you did not know this, don't throw your booster wrappers away. Excuse me, hiccups. Because you can mail those back to UVS Games for points as well. Bubble Girl was originally a Provisional Store Championship card. You can only get her if you won a Provisional Store Championship. She's from the Undaunted Raid set, even though she does not have her little watermark there. But you can redeem points to get a Bubble Girl if you wish. So that's how you will get this card. Also, if you're not on the UGN play.uvs games site and you do sign up, it is 100% free. But when they ask you, how did you hear about us, if you would please select content creator and choose moi. I believe you have to type in my YouTube channel, the channel name, I believe, or channel address. It's one of those two. But it would help support the channel, and I think you get free points if you do that. So without further ado, let's go into this fan favorite, Bubble Girl. She is a 7-hand size, 20 health character with air, good, and water as her symbols. I chose the good version, I chose the good symbol, maybe not the good version. We'll see about that for this deck. And she has 2 enhances, the first of which is once per turn, name a card. Copies of the named card get +2 to their block modifier for the turn. That's pretty solid if you know what's in your rival's hand, which could be good, or you could use the second enhance, commit 1 foundation. This attack gets +X or -X speed. X equals its block modifier. So you could declare a card that is already being played, like say your rival is playing an attack against you with a +3 block modifier. You can say, cool, I'll name that card, it gets +2 to its block modifier, now I'll commit a foundation and give it -5 speed. So that could be used offensively and defensively to boost the speed of your own attacks. Speaking of your own attacks, we're starting with Bubble Restraint. This is her rare from the Undaunted Raid set. It is a 6 difficulty, 3 control, 3 low for 6 with a +3 mid block, and the throw keyword. So throw is a static keyword, for those of you who don't know, that says even if this attack is completely blocked, it will still deal half damage rounded up during the damage step. So this is going to do at least 3 damage, no matter what, unless they have a way to reduce that damage or prevent it from dealing damage. It has an enhance. If your rival tries to block this attack with a foundation card, that block's modifier gets +3. So if they try to block with a foundation, their block modifier gets +3, makes it harder to block. And then response, after this attack deals damage, your rival's block modifiers get +1 for the rest of the turn. So this is an amazing opening card, not only because it's a 6 difficulty, but as a throw, it's pretty much guaranteed to do damage. So you're going to increase the difficulty of your rival's block modifiers for the rest of the turn, almost like a reverse breaker, to make it harder for them to block your attacks. Another card that can do this is Double Spirit Blast, a 5 difficulty, 3 control, 4 mid for 6 with a +2 mid block, the echo and ranged keywords. Excuse me. This is Yusuke's Ultra from the Dark Tournament set. It says enhance, your rival's block modifiers get +1 this turn. So, Bubble Restraint, if it deals damage, boosts your rival's block modifiers. Double Spirit Blast, just as an enhance, boosts the block modifiers. And then with the Echo keyword, you can respond to discarded momentum after Double Spirit Blast resolves to play it again from your card pool, gaining this enhance ability a second time. So this deck is obviously all about making your attacks unblockable via messing with block modifiers. And with both of these ace attacks here being 6 base damage, That's some pretty decent damage to threaten, especially if we have a way to boost that damage, which let's see if we do later. Next up we have Rescue Counterattack. This is a 5 difficulty, 3 control, 5 mid for 4 with a +2 low block. It's got Fury and Slam as its keywords. It says response, after you block with this card, add it to your hand during the end phase. So you can block with it and then pick it back up so that going into your turn you're guaranteed at least 1 attack in your hand. And then Enhance, this attack gets +X damage. X equals the highest block modifier on a card in your card pool. So let's say we start with a Bubble Restraint. We could use Bubble Girl, her once per turn, to declare Bubble Restraint to get +2 to its block modifier until the end of the turn. So this becomes a +5 block modifier. So then Rescue Counterattack can give +5 damage. This becomes a 5 mid for 9. Just by having Bubble Restraint and Rescue Counterattack. And then you could use Bubble Girl to commit a foundation to give this attack 2 speed, making it a 7 mid 9. If Bubble Restraint dealt damage, it's already going to increase their block modifiers by 1. And this can be a really good, just a shotgun attack. Because if you're boosting your own block modifiers, you're going to absolutely just push your attacks through to deal some serious damage to your opponent. Next up, Command Pigeon Flock. This is a 5 difficulty, 3 control, 4 high for 5 with a +2 mid block, ally and ranged keywords. It says Enhance, build 1 ally foundation from your discard pile. So you get a free ready foundation. That's pretty solid, and you'll see when we get to the foundations, we've got some pretty good ally ones to choose from. And then Enhance, discard 1 momentum. This attack gets +1 damage for each ally card in your card pool. So far, we have seen Command Pigeon Flock as our only ally, which this isn't really going to be a damage dunk. This is mainly here to build some really unique foundations from our discard pile that we'll see here in a little bit. Speaking of ally attacks, we have Twin Rose Toss, a 5 difficulty, 4 high for 5, 3 control, +1 high block. This is an ally combo attack. So it combos with an attack, so in order to use the combo enhance, the card immediately before Twin Rose Toss in your card pool has to be an attack card. Excuse me. And it says it's this combo enhance, your rival adds the top card of their deck to their card pool face down. So not only are we boosting our rival's block modifiers, we're also clogging the card pool to make sure that they are not blocking anything. They are just going to take every attack that we throw at them. And that could be really, really strong. Even if you're just dealing with printed damage, if your rival can't block anything, they're just going to die. That's all there is to it. Especially if we're giving their card that's hardest to deal with, their highest damage move, +2 to its block modifier, and then minus a bunch of speed. It could really, really hamper them. Next up, Stylish Strike, a 4 difficulty, 3 control, 3 high for 4 with a +2 low block. It's got Fury and Ranged. It's got an Enhance. If this attack is not blocked, draw 2 cards. So as a 4 diff, this is a good thing to end your attack string with, because if you've boosted their block modifiers to High Holy Hell and put cards in their card pool, they're not blocking it. So this gives you 2 additional cards you can play on defense to block with if needed. And then it has a Pro Hero Enhance, which, while it doesn't say on her, she has been retrofitted with the Pro Hero keyword. So she does have access to Stylish Strike's Pro Hero Enhance. Of this damage of this attack cannot be reduced below printed. So if our rival's unable to block our attacks, their only real way out is to reduce our damage. So an attack that cannot be reduced below printed is pretty solid. It's got a nice low block, and we can draw cards to use on defense at the end of our string. Finally, we have Absorbed Energy Spirit Strike, a 4 difficulty, 3 control, 4 mid for 3 with a +2 high block. It says response, after you block with this card, flip the blocked attack after it resolves. So it will still do damage, but you flip it after it resolves, and you add the top card of your deck to your momentum. This gets us momentum defensively, which we can use with some of our other abilities. And then in Enhance, your rival discards 1 momentum. This attack gets +X damage, X equals the difficulty of the discarded momentum. So if you can pluck a 5 or even a 6 difficulty attack out of your rival's momentum, not only do they lose that resource, but this becomes an 8 or a 9 damage attack. It's only 4 speed, but we can boost that to 6 speed with Bubble Girl, and that's if we didn't boost the block modifier to give it an additional 2 speed. Or clogging the card pool with Twin Rose Toss, or if they've managed to block 1 attack. So this could be another one of those rescue counterattack type cards that can just bomb your opponent if they're unable to do anything about it. Excuse me. Alright, moving on to our non-attack cards. We're starting with assets, and we have Airy, a 2/5 with a +3 low block. They ally and unique keywords. It says, as a static, at the start of your end phase, ready 1 non-unique asset or foundation that was not ready during this turn's combat phase. So she allows you to go into your rival's turn with 1 additional ready resource, and then response remove, discard 1 momentum. Before the damage step of your rival's attack, reduce its damage to your current health -1 to a minimum of 1. So that momentum we got from Absorbed Energy Spirit Strike, we can use it to save our life with Airy. As said, we are a 7 hand size 20 health character. We are very squishy, so we need to play very defensively, and having Airy as a get out of death free card is always pretty solid. Excuse me, I'm sorry I'm sniffing a lot. I do want to get these videos out. I'm still suffering real bad from allergies, but I do want to continue making content so that I'm not just leaving you guys hanging for weeks at a time. Moving on to actions, we have the future is now. This is a 3 difficulty, 5 control with a +2 high block. It says form, your next attack gets +2 speed, +2 damage, and ignores progressive difficulty. Only 1 copy of this ability can be played per turn. So you play the future is now, this effect. At any time, you could play a card from your hand during your turn. So if you could play an attack on your turn, you can use the form effect on Future is Now. And I will have a video coming out later detailing in more detail kind of how this works. A little preview of some fancy things to come. So this is a good way to guarantee more damage on an attack, +2. Not bad, nothing to really sneeze at. But the fact that you're ignoring progressive as well, you're playing Twin Rose Toss on a flat 5, even if it's the 4th card in your card pool. You're playing Double Spirit Blast on a 5. You're playing Absorbed Energy Spirit Strike on a 4, while giving more speed and more damage. So that's pretty cool. And last for our actions, we have Arbor, a 2/5 with a +2 low block. The Breaker 1 keyword, so if we block with this, we get to reduce our rival's next check by 1. Which could cost them more resources to try to play their cards, which means going into our turn, they have way less to defend themselves with. As a static, it says you may choose not to clear this card from the card pool during your end phase. Interesting, but kind of not what we want to do. And it says as an enhance, this attack gets +4 damage or -3 speed. So on defense, we're giving something -3 speed. On offense, we're giving a whole ton of damage. That makes Bubble Restraint and Double Spirit Blast 10 damage moves, on top of messing with our rival's block modifiers. So Arbor can turn any attack into a huge bomb, and that's great. And as a card pool response, after you review a card, you may add 1 face-up foundation to your hand and build this card face down. We're not really going to be using that, because that's really just kind of like a Kamui Woods thing. It's dangerous to leave this in your card pool, especially going into your rival's turn, because you want to be able to block things. So to save this only to review a card, to build this down, and pick up a ready resource is not great. So unless you're Kamui Woods and you can review on your rival's turn, probably just best to stick with the enhance ability, turning your attacks into bombs. Moving on to our foundations. We have Borrowed Energy, a 1/5 with a +3 mid-block. It says enhance, flip, if your rival has 1 or more momentum, add the top card of your deck to your momentum. That's pretty good. We like taking momentum for free. free. And then Enhance, discard 1 momentum. This attack gets plus X damage, X equals its block modifier. So, since we're now allowed to look at our momentum, we can see where our bubble restraints are, discard them, and give plus 3 damage to any of our attacks. That's pretty good. That's pushing that damage forward when we know our rival can't block something. So pushing that 3 damage forward, maybe we throw Arbor on there, so plus 7 damage. You can really, really hurt somebody, especially if you can also give it plus speed with Bubble Girl. Next we have Glimpses of the Past, a 2/5 with a plus 2 low block. It says Enhance Commit. This attack gets minus X speed. X equals the block modifier on the top card of your discard pile. So again, if we've discarded something like a Bubble Restraint, we can, or like a Borrowed Energy, if we checked one, we can give minus 3 speed on top of whatever minus speed Bubble Girl can give. And also, Bubble Girl can affect cards not only in the hand and on your card pool, but also in the discard pile, because it says all copies of that card get plus 2 to their block modifier. So if we've got a Borrowed Energy on top of our discard pile, we can use Bubble Girl to declare Borrowed Energy and commit this for minus 5 speed. That's pretty solid. Next we have Double Sword Style, a 2/5 with a plus 3 mid block. It's got response once per turn, tenacious, so once per turn when this is playable while committed. After this foundation is committed due to a cost, this attack gets plus 1 or minus 1 damage. So if we commit it with Bubble Girl to give our attack speed, we also give it 1 damage. If we do it to reduce speed, we can also reduce the damage of the attack we're reducing speed on. In case we have to partial block it, we take less damage. And then response, flip after you play your second attack this turn, draw 1 card. So if we don't necessarily need the plus 1 damage, we could try to draw a card when we go into a string. All in all, pretty good for pivoting offensively and defensively with this foundation. Next up, Breaking the Cuffs, a 2/5 with a plus 2 high block. It says Enhance, Destroy, discard 1 card. So your whole cost is to destroy this card and discard a card from your hand. Your attack gets plus 3 speed and plus 3 damage. Imagine stacking that on top of the Futures Now for 5 speed and 5 damage. Or adding this onto Arbor for plus 4 damage. This is another way to boost these attacks to lethal ranges. And with that plus 3 speed, messing with block modifiers, stuffing cards in our rival's card pool, they're not going to be able to deal with these attacks very well, and that's pretty solid. Next we have Keiko's Support, a 2/4 with a plus 3 mid block. It has the Ally keyword, so we can build it in with Command Pigeon Flock for free from our discard pile. It says Enhance Commit. The next card you try to play this turn that shares 2 or more symbols with your character gets minus 2 difficulty or minus 2 to its block modifier. I believe most of our attacks, Bubble Restraint, not Double Spirit Blast, Rescue Counterattack, not Command Pigeon Flock, Twin Sword Style does. So Twin Sword Style, Rescue Counterattack, and Bubble Restraint are all our attacks that share 2 symbols. So we can give minus 2 difficulty to those, or we can give minus 2 to the block modifiers for any of these cards that share 2 or more symbols with us to block easier. So if we're playing out on offense or defense, it's really, really solid. Next up, a fun little one of Urameshi's Perseverance, a 2/5 with a plus 4 mid block. So if we were able to get this into our discard pile with Glimpses of the Past or Borrowed Energy, we could really deal some solid damage with that. It's got the Ally keyword as well as Unique, so you can only have 1 in your stage, but it also can be built in with Command Pigeon Flock. It says Form, Remove, discard 1 momentum, add 1 card from your discard pile to your hand. This could also read Form, Remove, discard a momentum, pick up Double Spirit Blast to echo your rival and boost their block modifiers, or pick up a Bubble Restraint at the start of your turn. This turns this 1 foundation and a momentum into any attack you want in your discard pile. So, really, really powerful. We are not Team Urameshi, so we don't have to worry about the Team Urameshi Enhance. This is mainly a button to push to pick up any attack we need going into our kill turn. Then we have Keiko's Aid, a 2/5 with a +3 high block. It says response, flip. After you block an attack, your rival's next attack gets +2 difficulty. Bubble Girl is going to make things really slow and easy to block, so then giving Pseudo Breaker 2, which cannot be cheated around with a foundation, is really solid, especially when we're trying to play defensively. We're trying to wear our rivals' resources down so that they go into our turn with as few foundations as possible, so that even +1 to their block modifiers can really hamper them. Then we have Toughest Punk in Junior High, a 2/5 with a +3 mid-block. It's got response, flip. Before you take damage from an attack, reduce the damage you would take by 3. This includes throws, this includes partial blocks, and non-blocked attacks. Really trying to preserve as much of that 20 health as possible to continue going for as long as possible. Next we have Surprising Skill, a 0/5 with a +4 high block. As a static, it says it cannot be committed due to rival effects. That's pretty solid with all the stun we've got going around with Chu and Rinku and all that jazz. Excuse me. It says as a response, flip. After one or more of your cards is committed or sealed due to a rival effect, your rival commits 1 foundation, or you may ready a foundation. If they stun you, you can flip this to ready that foundation back up. If they try to seal one of your cards, you can either force them to commit a foundation or ready another foundation, so you can keep going. You can keep your defenses up. Next, we have Return of the Kings, a 1/5 with a +2 low block. It says enhance commit, your block modifier to block this attack gets -2. Because why not just slow the attack down and make our block free? I mean, who doesn't love blocking on a 0? It's amazing. And then response, discard 1 momentum. After you block with this card, build it. You don't even build it committed, you get to build it ready, so then you can then commit to make your next block easier. Really solid. Speaking of speed reduction, we have Nice Try, a 2/5 with a +3 low block and the taunt keyword. It says enhance commit, this attack gets -2 speed. We love speed hate. And then response, after your rival's combat phase begins, ready this foundation, playable while committed. So we committed on our turn either to boost the speed of our attacks or to play out our cards, and then on our rival's turn, we get to ready it back up to reduce the speed on their attacks. It's a win-win. It's an all-around great card. Next up, we have Keeping Ares Safe, a 0/5 with a +2 mid-block. It says once per turn as a response. After this card is committed due to your rival's effect, ready it, playable while committed. Just some simple anti-stun. Pretty fun. Then we have Bubble Distraction, a 3 difficulty foundation with a 5 check and a +3 low block. It says enhance commit. This attack gets +X or -X damage. X equals its block modifier. This is another one of those cards that turns any attack we have into a bomb, pretty much. Except maybe Twin Rose Toss. Because in conjunction with Bubble Girl, giving +2 to any block modifier, we can make Bubble Restraint a 5 block modifier and give +5 damage with Bubble Distraction. Bubble Restraint then becomes an 11 damage throw, dealing minimum of 6, not to mention messing with block modifiers. Or, if you really don't want to block an attack, you can give +2 to its block modifier, and then give it minus a whole bunch of damage with your Bubble Distractions. So, really solid card. I don't know if it deserves the 3 check, but given everything you can do with it, I kind of understand. Next up, Heroic Assistance. People will recognize this from my 10 underrated cards pre-Dark Tournament list. It is a 2/5 with a +2 high block and the Ally keyword, another card we can build in with Command Pigeon Flock. It says response flip, after one or more of your foundations is committed due to a rival effect, ready 2 foundations that have not been readied during this combat phase. So, they stun 1, you flip this to ready 2. And you don't just have to ready face downs, you can ready face-ups as well. So you can re-ready your Nice Tries, your Bubble Distractions, your Keiko support, your Double Sword Style to keep reducing damages. Really, really solid card. And then as a Deadlock Enhance, you can flip it to look at your rival's hand, and then you may change the zone of this attack. Peeking at the hand is perfect for Bubble Girl, because then you can declare which block modifier you absolutely don't want them to use, gets +2 to its modifier. And actually looking at this deck, I think I would make some changes. I'd probably add in 1 or 2 Dramatic Slash, so you could discard a momentum to build an asset from your discard pile, and 1 or 2 copies of Deku's Notebook, which allows you to remove it, look at your rival's hand, and then you can change the zone of your attack. It's basically the enhance here, the Deadlock enhance, but on a regular enhance. To be able to peek at your rival's hand, pick any block in their hand and say, hey, that one gets +2 for the rest of the turn. Really strong. So, if I were to make some changes to this, I might look into something like that, but I'm just going to keep this how it is for now. Then we have Sense of Justice, a 2/5 with a +2 high block. It says Enhance Commit, name a keyword. Your rival's attack that gets -X speed or -X damage. X equals the number of attacks with that keyword in their card pool. Again, we have a lot of tribal decks going around, tribal charges, tribal kicks, tribal punch, tribal fury. So to be able to get a massive damage reduction is absolutely incredible defensively. Or if we have a good block, like say they're throwing a low and we want to block with Arbor to get that breaker, we can give even more speed hate for a commit. So really just an all-around great defensive piece. We have Friends of Animals, a 3/5 with a +2 high block and the ally keyword. Again, Command Pigeon Flock can just build this for free. It says response, after this card is committed during the enhance step, this attack gets +2 speed, playable while committed. So with Bubble Girl, we can give +X speed, X equaling our block modifier, and an additional +2 speed with Friends of Animals. So we can really ramp up the speed on an attack to guarantee that it hits. It also says enhance remove, add 1 ally attack from your discard pile to your momentum, playable while committed. So we could put a Twin Rose Toss or a Command Pigeon Flock into our momentum to then use for something like Urameshi's Perseverance or Airy if need be. I don't believe we have any momentum outs on our attack, or our Echo. We can Echo double Spirit Blast if we had no momentum, so that's really good. So just a way to get a little bit of snap momentum if need be. It's also playable while committed, so you don't have to worry about keeping it ready and losing a ready resource. Speaking of momentum outs, we have Cheerleader, probably one of my favorite foundations, a 2/5 with a +3 mid block. It says response, remove, discard 1 momentum. After an attack is played, it gains flash. So denying your rival an enhanced step defensively is one of the strongest abilities in the game. If they have a big sweeping turn they want to do and they're like, I'm going to throw this attack down and I've got a bunch of buttons to push to make it hella hard to deal with, you can just give it flash and say, cool, I'll take 4. Or I'll take whatever the printed damage is. You don't even need to block it at that point. You can just deny them the ability to play all of that stuff on them. It also has a Hagakure first form, but we're not Hagakure, so we're not going to deal with that. Also, can be said that this can be played on offense as well. So if you throw something like a rescue counterattack late in your string with, say, the future is now, you can give it flash, and they just have to instantly go to the block step and pray that they can block possibly lethal damage. So also good for something like a bubble restraint. If you don't want to worry about the enhance on here, you can just say, hey, I'm going to give it flash. This way you can't do any sort of shenanigans to reduce the damage to 0. It has its utilities both offensively and defensively. And lastly, we have Idle Work, a 1/5 with a +2 low block. It says enhance, destroy 1 foundation. If this attack deals no damage, draw 1 card and discard 1 card. So we're going to be reducing our rival's attack speed a lot. So if we've got the right block zones, we can pretty much guarantee that this is always going to let us cycle a card to maybe get better blocks throughout the turn, while keeping you out of deadlock safely. With characters like Elder Toguro running around, with... No, Elder Toguro is the main threat there. That's going to force you to build into deadlock. Having cards that are lock breakers are really, really good. Unfortunately, Good doesn't have a lot of lock breakers, at least none with the block zones and the low difficulty I was looking for. We do have some stuff that removes itself, destroys itself, so that's good, but it's just always good to have a little bit of that extra there. Plus, you can maybe pitch a bad block and pick up a good block if you draw well. But that is Bubble Girl off of the good symbol. What do you guys think? I know she was a fan favorite for a long time, and a lot of people were kind of wishy-washy on what she did. They didn't think she was really that strong. But I tell you guys, the minute I saw Double Spirit Blast had the good symbol, I knew a good symbol Bubble Girl had to be built. And with that, Bubble Restraint, and just a whole bunch of other things to mess with your rival's block modifiers to push huge damage through, I think she could be really dangerous. Maybe not as a high competitive deck, but you could definitely terrorize your locals. This kind of deck would make your locals want to reach across the table and throttle you. Speaking from experience as someone who's nearly been throttled by some of his locals. But yeah, that's Bubble Girl on the good symbol. My first standard deck using the new Yu Yu Hakusho cards that's not a Yu Yu Hakusho character. Not a Day Zero build. I actually put a little bit more thought and work into this one. What do you guys think? Do you like Bubble Girl? Do you like what she does? Do you have any tips you might think of how you would play this character? Do you think you'd go with the good symbol with Double Spirit Blast, or is there something on the water symbol that might call you with what can be done there? Let me know in the comments below, and if you enjoy deck build content, please subscribe to the channel if you haven't already, and if you liked the video, please leave it a like, and I will see you guys in the next one. Take care, guys.